If you love classic cars, then Donald loves you. When I took this assignment this morning from Audrain Central Control, they said you only need to remember 3 numbers: 661, 738, and 427. I thought this is an interesting mission because I'd never been given instructions like that. And most people who know me, and I hope all of you watching this video know me well, no, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm more of a seat of the pants guy. But Control said no. In order to be a seat of the pants guy, you have to know these 3 numbers. And what are those 3 numbers? 661 horsepower, 738 foot-pounds of torque, in a car that weighs 427 pounds less than all of the rest of the cars like it. This is a Mercedes SL65 Black Series, and this is a remarkable car. The 3rd model in the famed AMG Black Series lineup. This was the 2nd one sold in the US, and to me, one of my favorite Mercedes high-performance models ever. Not simply because it's super limited production, only 375 made for the world, 175 for the US market, of which this is one, but because of all of that it delivers. The new AMG GTs are great cars. They're fabulous, they're fast, they're dramatic looking, but this, to me, is the essence of Mercedes performance because it has a lightness. You know me, I love light cars. It has the lightness and an eagerness that you just don't get in some of the bigger, heavier GT cars. And this car also earns its performance in the best way possible. Add power, add lightness. It may look like a standard SL, but the body panels are all different. It only shares the doors with the standard production car. The fenders are all carbon fiber reinforced plastic. The top is not the normal retractable hardtop, but a totally different top. And all of that comes in to this amazing weight savings and just a feeling of sort of active Mercedes endorsed hooliganism that this car is. And you watching this channel might get slightly bored with me saying this because I see so much of what I love in so many of the cars I drive. It's not that I love everything, but when a car comes together in a way that delivers what I like most, my enthusiasm cannot be controlled. And I love Mercedes-Benzes. I love what they stand for. And I like performance, but performance that's usable performance. And this is the kind of car that delivers exactly that. And in a way that is so incredibly true to its brand. I think that that's something I'd really admire in designers. I don't want much. I just want it all. So this car also has a very menacing aspect, and one of the things that's also very nice is when you have a car that encourages people to give you a thumbs up rather than another finger. But I think that this car is sort of dramatic without being sort of in-your-face antisocial. Yeah, it has the look of a race car, but only if you know what one of these race cars looks like. Otherwise, it could just be, you know, another one of those SL cruisers with a body kit, maybe. But that would feel behind the wheel. It's got selectable modes for shifting, and the shift modes are rather different, but there's so much power and so much torque in this car that you don't really need to indulge yourself with the most dramatic driving modes in order to get a lot out of this car. And that's one thing which I really like. Again, the fact that it feels like a Mercedes every moment. There's this solidity, but it doesn't feel heavy. And it's sort of a tribute to the SL moniker. After all, it stands for Sport Leicht, which is light sports. And many SLs, perhaps most SLs after the original 300, have not been particularly light cars. But when you get sports lightning, as you have in this SL65 AMG Black Series, you feel the difference. Recently, here on the Audrain Museum network, I drove an 500 SL, and you can watch that video if you click here. And this car gives me the very same feeling that that car gave. The relationship of this car to the standard SL65 is exactly like that between the 560 SL and the Europe-only 500 SL. But as I said before, Americans, at least 175 of them, were lucky enough to get this in the USA when the car was new. And the fact that this is still an SL, I mean, these comfortable seats, again, Mercedes taking care of you in a way that gives you comfort, and some might call it luxury. This is not really an overly luxurious interior, but you certainly know that it's a well-crafted one and very well supportive seats, as Mercedes has been known for decades. And this is a car that has a reputation of being a car that can really sort of trick and bite you. You have to be respectful with this kind of power, even with the very capable Mercedes chassis. It's really a car that rewards a connected driving experience. If I have one gripe, if there is one, is that to have this incredible twin-turbo V12 powering the car, you don't get much of the feeling of the engine inside the car. Well, you get the power of the engine. You don't really get the sound. It's one of the things that the Mercedes SLR McLaren does so well, with those quite over-the-top and silly side exhausts right under your feet. So you have the presence of the engine. I'd like a little more rumorosità, as we say in Italian, in this, but when I get to a smoother road a little later in this drive, I think I'll be able to hear a little bit more of the engine when I'm not hearing the patter of the tires on the slightly broken pavement. For a super high performance car, as this SL65 AMG Black Series is, it also, of course, passes the all-important Osborne cross-country test. I could throw a couple of bags in the trunk, and because it's not a retractable hardtop anymore, there's actually room in the trunk, and point the nose to California and say, see you in a couple of days. It's that smooth and comfortable, and of course, you'd cover a lot of states, maybe not Ohio because of the speed enforcement, but in a very quick time. You need to cross Texas. This is a car for crossing Texas. A car for crossing Montana. It's just absolutely amazing. And as a car for a secret mission, I think it's also terrific, because when you see the bad guys in the mirror behind you, you just sort of kick down a gear. And they're gone. So the question is this a hero's car or a villain's car? Because the villain's car has a certain character to it that the hero's car you think might not have. A certain meanness. I mean, how would this car be in the four-wheel drift as it's chasing after the hero? Well, I could turn this ESP off button, but perhaps not. I'm leaning at the moment towards the hero's car. Somehow, I'm here dressed in my black suit, my Brioni tie, I'm ready to drive up to some casino somewhere in a nice Central European country after a nice winding road drive and see, yeah, that car that's been in my mirror for a while. Let's see if we can lose him. It is no wonder that this car has all the attributes you want in a collector car. It's beautiful, in my mind. It's rare. It's capable. It speaks to its manufacturer and its age in a way that is absolutely compelling. And you think about how far cars have come in the 11 years since this car was built. I still think there are a few that do what this car does better. Winding this car up through the gears is a very satisfying exercise. It's got such amazing capability, and twin turbos give incredible instant response. The chassis is alive. You really do feel connected with the road in a way which is very unstandard SL-like. And again, there's nothing wrong with the standard SL, but this is a totally different animal. But it doesn't ever feel uncivilized. That's the thing. I think that's the trick that Mercedes really got right with this car, and AMG understands what Mercedes are. And you can tune any car any way you like, but when you have a performance outfit like AMG that understands what the basic brief of the car is and what the chassis is meant to do and meant to express, it makes all the difference in the world. It's also so apt that in the instrument cluster, the instruments have white lettering on black backgrounds, except for the tachometer, which is black letters on a white background. And immediately as you're scanning the road ahead through the windshield, it's the tachometer that catches your eye in your peripheral vision. And that's exactly what the AMG engineers intended, because that's the dial you want to keep your attention on. I changed down into S, or sport mode. And that's an automatic mode of this 5-speed automatic gearbox. And it provides a really interesting contrast to the manual modes, because this engine has enough power that in the sport automatic mode, when you put your foot down on the gas pedal, you do get response. And it's another trick, because today we're used to these very sophisticated dual clutch gearboxes, 8-9-speed gearboxes that have incredible flexibility. This one, again, technology has passed a lot of milestones since this car was built, but nothing makes this car feel in any way, shape, or form dated at all. And, you know, as a young-timer classic, and this car is already a classic, it's already trading at its original MSRP of over $300,000. So it's certainly collecting coming to the fore. Time flies, and this is a good car to fly through time with. Q Branch is going to have quite a bit of trouble prying this car from my hands, because I think I may see another mission ahead somewhere. Far ahead, right over there. Yeah, that's where it is.